There you go. Clear.
Nice.
Okay. I haven't heard this, so what is this all about?
So the story of the story of the white guy, wife guy, try guy, um, continues. So basically, the whole thing came out. He was cheating on Ariel. He was, doing this in Vegas alongside, while he was hanging out with his workmates and all that stuff. But they don't know a single thing. Like they have no clue.
Of course.
They didn't see anything. They didn't see the guy making out with the woman next to him. Never mind. It doesn't matter because it turns out that people have found out that he was having sex in his car,
Allegedly.
allegedly,
Mm-hmm.
with the woman Alex that he was cheating on Ariel with. Um, and this is I just think it's such like neighborhood vigilante news. I think it's just fabulous. I absolutely love it.
And that's the wife. That's not the girlfriend. So it was with the girlfriend, they
The
think?
Yes, yeah, because
Okay.
that is car, and they saw him come into the car. There was a video that caught him after the scandal, and they were asking him, "Do you have any comments? Are you getting back together?" Blah blah blah,
Mm-hmm.
and they caught the plate number, and then the plate
Mm.
number. Turns out this was reported on a vigilante website for neighborhoods because they're saying that somebody was having sex in that car
Do you have the
in the same.
Nextdoor app in Europe?
No.
Okay, the Nextdoor app is notorious for like everyone spying on everyone. So that checks out because if it happens in the neighborhood, like I don't have it on my phone, but sometimes I get emails from like, and it's only like your neighborhood. It'll be like, I saw someone walking and I didn't recognize them. It's like, oh my God, like that's the type of posts that people post on this app. So this would definitely make sense that if someone was having sex in a car, on a street, that someone would post about it on the Nextdoor app. So I believe it.
Right, right. Well, why are they reporting people walking?
I don't know. Suspicious person. He was wearing a red bandana. Like, oh my God, who cares? Like, shut up. But that's all the time. And then there's just fights always about like people like that. Like, who cares? Stop posting this. And then they're like, but I'm concerned about my safety. Something was stolen from me 20 years ago. Like, I don't know. It's
Oh
weird.
my God. I hope I don't become that person.
Yeah, they're bored. They're very bored.
So, as the Try Guys recover
Oh, you want
from the cheating scandal, fans of the YouTubers are unearthing more rumors about the former member. Fulmer has been radio silent after he was let go from the group after getting caught cheating on his wife Ariel with the group's associate producer. Fulmer and his wife put on a united front with joint statements and even confirmed that they were working on repairing the relationship in a paparazzi video. Yeah, I think this is the video where they could see the
plates?
car plates, and that's she was saying that they were gonna try to get back together or something. However, fans are still unpacking what was going on in Fulmer's private life for the past year, including one confusing rumor. Ned Fulmer's car was implicated in a post accusing people of having sex in public.
Dun dun dun.
Debauchery. Debauchery. Absolutely. In May 2022, a Twitter user tweeted a screenshot of a post originally shared on Nextdoor, an app where people share tips about going on in local neighborhoods. Yeah. Nextdoor has suddenly probably increased in
Yeah,
value.
probably.
Can you imagine maybe them become like Zoom?
Oh God, no. They don't need to add any more features. They got enough features on that app.
Do you have the app though?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's fun. Um, Does it ever? Do you ever get this sort of news, like somebody's having sex in a car?
Um, I don't remember that specifically, but it wouldn't surprise me. It's like pick up. I'm putting my old bed frame outside if anyone wants it. Followed by there's a suspicious person. Followed by garage sale next Saturday. Like that's the type of stuff there is.
Right. So just anything and everything.
Yes, but this
Yeah.
people would be like. I don't think this is like a planted thing. Like this looks legit to me.
No, no, this is like they checked I think it is legit too. It's just kind of funny because obviously you don't think of that, but like they must have had sex somewhere.
Yeah.
It's just like so cheap
Car?
as to pay for a hotel room.
Yeah. Come
Car
on,
it is.
guys.
The same car that his wife like
Takes
walks
their
into, like,
kids to
yeah, just
school.
oh God, the kids.
Yeah.
Fuck, I didn't even think about the kids. Shit.
It's always good.
Um, yeah.
In
In
the
the
cat.
screenshot,
Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Yeah.
were you gonna say something?
No. I was gonna say this is what they said. That's the interesting part. Go ahead.
In the screenshot, a photo of a car's license plate was accompanied by a caption that read, "People having sex in car at 5:45 while kids and families are walking around." 5:45? It's
PM.
daylight. Yeah. Um, this is mental. Okay. So once seeing the post, people started to notice the car shared an eerie similarity to Fulmer's car. Every once in a while, Nextdoor over delivers.
And that's the paparazzi of that same car. Damn.
Damn, it's not even comfortable in a car.
Go on.
Although it was not a Tesla that I had sex in, so maybe.
Was it daylight in a neighborhood?
No, it was not daylight, but it was in a neighborhood.
Okay. Well, I guess it has to be, I suppose, at some point.
I mean, like what else? Like on the highway?
Yeah. McDonald's parking lot.
No, it was pitch black, far from the city.
That's
Why am I talking about this?
It was on
This was the
street.
paparazzi interview. Let's watch a little bit. I hope they don't claim us.
Eh. This looks staged. They're smiling.
Hi guys. Hey, are you guys working things out?
Yeah,
You are?
we're working things out.
Well, that's good to hear. Hi Ariel. Hi Ned. Hey, what's next in your career, Ned?
We
Okay.
pick up our kids.
Okay, sure thing. Have a good day.
Awkward. I would be like, you did this to us, you asshole.
Yeah, why would you want to work things out with this guy? Like, I don't.
They got kids, man. That's the thing. You got kids. You want to work it out for the kids. That's what they
They
say.
all do for the fucking kids. I just feel like the kids get traumatized in the process with these things.
Yeah. Well, I think the first thing they should do is cancel their podcast. That probably would help matters the most.
Yeah.
Step 1, cancel the relationship podcast. Step 2, therapy. Step 3, I don't
Is
know.
he's not doing the podcast anymore. I think he's fired, so I don't think he's
Yeah.
got any of those.
Well, because they have their own podcast, the parenting podcast. So I guess. I mean, I think that's part of the Try Guys brand, though, too. So I think that's over.
Yeah. Paparazzi culture is so bizarre. Like, can you imagine like walking on the street and somebody just like approaching you like that?
No. That's how I felt. I kept trying to tell myself because when I went to Cincinnati for the Rage Shock thing, I saw her boyfriend in the middle of the street. Not in the middle of I was in the middle of the street. He was on the sidewalk. And I was like, oh my God, like this is so weird. I'm like breaking a law by like taking his photo. But I'm like, paparazzi would be like all up in his face, like asking him questions. And like, that's legal. So I guess I'm okay.
Yeah.
I'm just
You're
taking a picture
okay.
from afar. I guess I'm all right.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Oh, yeah. How was do you want to give us some tea from Cincinnati's Rage Talk Live?
Cincinnati.
Cincinnati. I love it.
Yeah. So, I mean, I did a whole stream about like what she did, like story by story, essentially. It was very boring. You, as someone who doesn't, listen to her as much, you probably would have heard all of the stories and all of the things that she told. The most concerning thing that I heard during the whole thing, and it took me till I got home and like kind of rethought about it, was that she told a story about her panic attack, right? And this is like the leading story of the whole I don't know what it is, show. And basically she said her boyfriend was really mean to her when she was having her panic attack. And when she was at a concert and she was like on the floor and like being hysterical, and like she was having, she was upset because she was having this panic attack, whatever. And that he was mean to her. And then later, he said, that's the only way I could get through to you was anger. And so she said, so that's the best message for everybody tonight, that sometimes you don't want something, but you need something. And that's like what my boyfriend provided me. And the story is whatever, but like the message that means to me is like very problematic in the sense of, with domestic violence. And I'm not saying they are a domestic violence situation, but a woman in the audience hearing that message, I think is problematic. Like if a man or anyone is like, I beat you to teach you a lesson, that's the only way I could get through to you was to beat the shit out, like, and that's good for you. That's kind of how I took it. Like, you're saying this as your own experience. Like Rachel was talking about it from her own perspective, but she did come out with a lesson for everyone. And I was like, you don't know what people might interpret that as. And I just thought that if you were abused and the message is, well, anger is good when you need it from your partner, I just found that to be a bad message to give. So that was my biggest kind of negative red flag takeaway from the whole event.
Oh my God. Yeah, that's pretty intense. Would she
Yeah.
say that about Dave? It was great when Dave was angry at me. It's the only time, he got through to me. No, now we're trashing Dave in every single interview or even every single podcast, whatever she does anymore.
Yeah.
And,
well, she was mean to Dave, and it was okay for her to be mean to Dave. And Dave would kind of take the position of her, where Dave would say, well, she pushed me and she said she was going to leave me on the mountain, which was very motivating when they did the Everest challenge thing. So they're all like confused, I think, about what love is and what, support is. It just seems like Dave and Rachel are two people who have not developed like healthy boundaries in life yet. Personally.
Yeah, it kind of sounds like this is also toxic and it's about to end. I don't know how I would feel if I was the boyfriend and she tells this story about me being angry on stage in front of hundreds of people
I wonder
on a
that
live
too.
tour.
And
Like,
every
how
city.
do you feel? If people know who you are, you're famous. Well, he's not that
relatively
famous, but people know of him. Like,
sure, she's tagged him in things now, so it's clear like who the boyfriend is,
Yeah, there's no mystery there. And Rachel hasn't had like a lot of, she's not dated a lot. She's not had a lot of partners, so it can only be one of two. So
yeah,
it's very, I don't know. I would be. I mean, my ex was mad that I shared something on a story that goes away in 24 hours, and he was the ex.
yeah.
So I don't, and he still called me and was absolutely mad and disgusted and all the things. And I was like, it's true. Like you could try being a nice person. How about that? Anyway, but that was like, that was something that was like, I don't care about the relationship anymore. The relationship was well done by that point, whatever.
Sure. And you're not
But to be
selling
with
it.
someone and just, yeah, I'm like, you know what? Buy like tickets to my VIP Rage
To
Talk
talk
Live.
shit about my
Yeah, I'm
boyfriend.
gonna trash my boyfriend with you.
And that's like she said to, like, when she got divorced from Dave, like, I'm never gonna make this mistake again by using my relationships as content. And she's done nothing but do that since they got together, because when she came back on the internet after her Toiletgate scandal, one of the first things she posted, not first things, but I shouldn't say that. One of the first things within that couple month span was, oh, I kissed a man for the second time ever, like a new man. And she did this whole thing about kissing him and all that. That was like early on. And then every single podcast, every single Rage Talk almost, she brings him up. And now she's, using him in content on stage. Like, she's doing exactly the same thing she did with Dave, but now with this guy. And I guess like she's a one-trick pony in that way. Like, she has nothing to talk about unless she's talking about how amazing her partner is or how shitty her partner is. Because look at Girl Wash Your Face. Half the book is about how big of a douchebag Dave was when they first met. And she's really has not talked very nicely about Kez, in the sense of when she actually tells a story, he always looks like an asshole. But then she'll say, oh, I love him though, but he's the best. But the story makes him look like a jerk. So
Yeah.
nothing's new.
I feel like these people, like, I don't know how this is happening, but I feel like people, and especially Rachel, like, this is shocking to me just how fast she got in. And
Yeah.
Dave got in a relationship even faster after a
Yeah.
breakup. And I cannot imagine after my breakup that I would have gone into another relationship right away, because
Publicly.
you're so raw. It's so painful after a breakup, especially if it's been years and years. And like for her, it was like 17 years or 18 years. There's 4 kids. Like,
Yeah.
untangling that life is a lengthy, painful, raw sort of process. Imagine in the midst of all that pain, just bringing in another person you have to deal with. Like, I could never do that, and I'm
Yeah.
so glad I didn't do it, because I just don't think it's healthy. And I think people who do that, they're just escaping the initial pain. But by doing that, you're pushing down that pain, and it's just not going anywhere. It's going to come back one way or another. So it's not, because if you don't stop and like process what's going on and just kind of take
Yeah.
stock, okay, get your closure, get your, like, whatever,
Yeah.
if you don't do that, you think you're doing well, but you're not. You're just entering toxic relationships because you're desperate for that pain to go away.
Yeah.
So you're just gonna take the first person that comes along. You're just gonna, like, and I think that is super damaging, because in the end you're gonna hurt that person, because you're not, you're not in love with the person. You're just desperate to
Yeah.
fill in a void, and that person's gonna suffer. You're gonna suffer because you've not actually dealt with the shit that you've been through. And it's such a recipe for disaster, and I feel like this is exactly what's happened to them. Although
Yeah.
for her it was slightly longer than it was for Dave, still I feel like,
Well, for Dave,
And-
it was they
like,
they
minus
Rach-
3 months.
yeah, not even. Rachel moved out in June of 2020, and he met Heidi in person July of 2020. So, and they started dating pretty quickly after that. So it was a
Yeah.
month or something, they said. And with Rachel, it was January, I believe. So they divorced in June, and then by January they were already together. But the thing that bothers me about Rachel, at least Dave's honest about, like, how they met, I guess. And that, I mean, he could be lying, but he said that he had Heidi come on as like a podcast guest, and that's how he like basically got to know her. Invited her to come to Texas and like record a podcast, and then they fell in love immediately, of course. But Rachel's like, I wasn't looking for a relationship because, that wasn't on my agenda. I just happened to download this celebrity dating app for friends. It's like, bitch, come on. For friends. What friends did you make? Oh, you made one boyfriend? Okay, so I guess that your experiment didn't work.
You literally imagine going on a date after 18 years of being with one man, going on a date with another man, and immediately becoming his girlfriend. Like, I think that's just
Yeah.
What is the just she can date. You can just date. Just date
Yeah.
for a year or two. Like
She
just
needed that
try out
content, though.
multiple
She needed
different
that.
types of people.
Well, I don't know. Well, because it's different for her, of course, because she has to, her whole brand is telling personal stories. So she needs someone who's going to be okay with being in content, who's going to be, to show that she's the hero and Dave's the asshole because look, I'm in this new relationship and it's going perfectly. So she can't just date around because then people would think like, oh, maybe she's hard to be with. So she had to be with someone who's like, you know, whatever. And she doesn't have a personality. So she had to take on someone's personality fully, which is now who she's, you know, now she's a hippie. And Kez, she claims, is also a hippie. Here's my soundbite for that.
I'm a big time hippie and I'm very woo woo.
Okay, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I just think it's bad news. I just don't think it helps anyone.
No, here's another one.
I am dating the most evolved human being.
Yeah, wait until they break up and then she's got to come out with every single podcast with you about how much of a cunt he was.
Yeah, I know.
Anyway,
that's what's gonna happen for sure. But besides all of that, like besides the drama of it all and like the intrigue, I really did not like that message that like his anger was a good thing because it like snapped her out of you know what she needed to be snapped out of. I just found that to be like not a
was
good
this
message.
the story about the panic attack?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So you get a panic attack and your boyfriend yells at you?
No, he didn't yell at her, but he's like, you're not, because she's like, I'm so hot and my heart's beating really fast. And he's like, you're not hot and your heart's not beating. And she wanted to go to the hospital. And he's like, well, if you go to the hospital, everyone's going to see you. So like, do you really want that? And then she said, no. And then they got into a fight. And then later on at night, he said, you know, she's like, I'm mad at you because you were so mean to me. I needed to be like taken care of. He's like, well, that's the only thing that would work for you is anger. I don't know. It doesn't make fucking sense to me either.
That sounds like that's not true. That sounds like there's more to the story and she's leaving some details out there. I'm not getting how was he mean if that's all he said.
Yeah.
If all he said is, are you sure you want to go to the hospital? She could very well say, yes, I'm sure. And
I don't know.
Go.
First of all, and there's been a lot of people were saying it in the comments when I was talking about this story. It doesn't sound like a panic attack. Like she just had a panic attack for no reason. It sounds like a drug trip the way she was talking about it.
Yes.
Yeah.
I saw you talk about it on the live stream.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, that it's exactly what happens when you're like high on shrooms or like hallucinogenics. Like you want to touch everything. You're just like
you're hot.
Yeah.
I feel like, and that's why I don't smoke weed or do a lot of I don't do any drugs, but like, you know, I have smoked weed on occasion and like I get very panicky from it. Like it hurts my anxiety. I feel like, oh my God, you know, so that's why I don't do it for that reason. But I wouldn't say, if I was to tell that story to somebody, to anyone, I would say, well, I smoked weed and then I went to this concert and then I had a panic attack, because that's an important part of the story, to say I smoked a bunch of weed before and that's what, you know, caused this to happen. But she left that part out, I think, to appear innocent. But
I think it sounds more like shrooms or LSD, because like I've taken shrooms and you have this, like the part that made me think of that was when she talked about how the music was the best thing she's ever heard.
Yeah.
Because that's exactly why, because that's why you would take it. You would take that in order to enjoy, like, especially when you're like in your early 30s and you're like, fucking clubs suck. But if I take some of this, I'm going to actually enjoy it. And I'm not going to be thinking about the sticky floors and blah, blah, blah. Mm-hmm. And she describes perfectly what it is to have like a small, not like a large dose, like a normal small dose that would just put you in the mood for an hour.
Yeah, and she was at a Paul McCartney concert, which is like, you know, the Beatles are like LSD, you know, like commercials. So, I mean, I think it makes sense. And I think if he's into that. But I don't
understand why she can't just be fucking honest and be like, you know, I tried LSD or I tried shrooms and that was great.
Because I think she's trying to become the goodest or still remain the goodest good girl of all time.
I think it's bullshit. She knows that her audience will not appreciate that from her.
Well, the
Because they were
people
like
that were there,
ex-Christians, right?
yeah,
Or
the
Christians.
people that were there and like in person, I mean, it was 95, if not more percent, well, definitely 99% women, 95% white women. So I think she like can kind of see that, and they're on the older end, like probably her age, like 40 plus, maybe a little bit more than 40, 45, 50. So I think, that's not necessarily like okay with that demographic to do
exactly.
LSD at her age, So I think she just wants to tell the story, but I don't know. The story didn't make any sense to me because a whole part of it was that she pooped on her. She was gonna poop everywhere, and that was a whole thing. And she always has to do that to like make it seem like she's relatable. I don't know.
Yeah, totally relatable. I poop all the time.
It's confusing.
So the thing that bothers me more about this whole thing is that this sounds like a good experience, and then she's trying to like make it sound like she had a panic attack.
Well, I think a lot of people were not even a lot of people, I think myself included, were speculating that there's two stories she told, and both times she said people who were in person thought I was drunk. People that were there probably thought I was drunk, but here's what really happened, and I'm actually innocent of everything. And so I wonder if in person she's been acting odd or something, and she's now she feels like she has to explain it as to why she's appeared to be intoxicated in public, perhaps. I don't know. That's my thoughts. I'm not sure.
Well, shrooms and LSD would make you awkward in public.
Yeah.
You're not happy to be around people that you don't know when you're on these. Like, it's great when you're like in a sort of secluded space with people that you're friends with, or like people that you're okay with, and you're just like sharing that moment and you're having a good trip and whatever. Physical.
Yeah.
And for some reason, just the other people just make you anxious or can turn that trip into a bad trip. So it sounds like she was high on LSD for sure, or shrooms. But like for shrooms to get high like that, you would have to take a lot.
Yeah. Well, she probably never had done it before too, so I don't know. She's probably.
It doesn't matter because they're not very powerful. They're very just you have to take like a fistful in order to get like that. So she most probably did LSD. That sounds like LSD to me.
Interesting. Well, then the other story she told at the end, so she told that one first about the panic attack, and then the last story was also about the boyfriend, how the boyfriend, went up the mountain without her for the Everest challenge. So basically, like, there's a resort. They go to different resorts. They sticks and stuff, and it looked like trolls. And I was like, "What's going on?" I'm like, again, this sounds
for sure.
yeah, it sounds like a drug thing's going on. But of course, she was like, "It's anemia," which, okay, sure.
Okay, what?
I don't know.
How exactly is it anemia? Excuse me.
She said all of her mental health issues the last year has been caused by anemia, and that's been, that's the thing she's discovered. It's like, okay, whatever you say.
Another thing that makes me think it's like hallucinogenics for sure, and definitely LSD probably, in my very uneducated opinion, except I also tried it a little bit. But you become, people who take shrooms or LSD become very like spiritual. You're like, because you have this like, I didn't clearly, but
Some do.
I
Yeah.
didn't take that much. I just took like I took an eighth of a thing, so very small sort of quantities. But basically people hallucinate, and it makes you feel like you're part of something, like you're you can see things like a lot prettier, the colors are prettier, like everything is nicer, the music sounds better, so you feel like you're in tune with things. And I've seen so many people talk on websites and like Reddit and things like that, and they say that it was the most spiritual experience they ever had, and they just suddenly start to believe in the universe and whatever. And I think if you take a good dose of this, probably, like, if you take a small dose like me, I'm just there like, yeah, the colors were pretty and the music
Yeah.
was nice, but like that's it. uh, no universe for me, thanks.
Yeah. It's subjective, I would imagine. If you're already predisposed to that type of thinking, and if you take something that's going to make you experience that more, I would imagine, yeah, oh, I feel more connected. Like, that makes sense. Kimberly Casse, thank you.
Kimberly.
Kimberly says, I def feel like she had an incident in public that she had to explain and used it for material. RH laying on a sticky floor at a Beatles concert. Yeah, I agree.
How relatable, seriously.
How relatable. She's a
Yeah.
bougie bitch, as she says.
Why not? Like, I think this would be maybe her comeback. Just say you've done LSD. Like, just what's the big deal?
Well, did you see what I talked about at the end of the podcast? That she just signed a deal with Sirius XM radio.
Oh no, I didn't see that.
Yeah, so her and Lewis Howes and Mel Robbins, they signed on with Sirius XM, so they're going to be supported financially, and they're going to be on. My friend is the best. Da 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 da. Like, there's nothing of value unless you're interested in like gossiping about Rachel Hollis, which I love to do. Don't get me wrong, but like, the way that they were saying, like, oh, this is going to change lives. It's like, come on, give me a break. Like, this is the person you're going to
always say
promote.
that.
Yeah, this is the person you're going to give more of a platform to. Why?
They're like, they always say this, like, oh my God, you guys pay attention. This is going to change your life. Listen. Did you know that thoughts create your behaviors?
Manifest.
Oh my God, mind blowing.
I know.
Wow. Just, and
I'm
I feel
annoyed.
like this is, yeah, but this just means that Sirius is like not quite serious.
Yeah. And I don't listen to Sirius XM radio. The only people I know that have it are like my friends' parents. So like maybe that's the demo they're going for, and like they're trying to bring in young talent. I don't know. Who knows? I have no idea. But it's just like she puts in 0% effort and gets rewarded. It just frustrates me. Maybe that's the problem. I know it's my own issue. It's not her necessarily. It's like, I believe life should be fair, and it's not.
Yeah,
and every time
yeah.
I'm presented with facts that it's not fair, I get pissed.
Yeah, exactly. And this is the same situation for Kanye here, right? Like, because
Yeah.
like that's what, and this is really why we have our channels, because we're both like super angry about the fact that
Yeah.
the world rewards this sort of problematic character. And I feel
Yeah.
like, but people do need to talk about it, because otherwise there is no chance anything will ever change unless we talk about it. And but I understand, but I think that when these broadcasters make choices, they don't care about what's in. Very rarely,
Yeah.
only when you
It's
have
numbers.
like serious broadcasters, they look at numbers and that's it.
Yeah.
If you work with things like that are educational, or like, for BBC, which is something that I feel like I was lucky to try, that's a different thing, because it's not funded by advertisers and sponsors.
Yeah.
So it's got a different sort of a different um purpose. The
Yeah.
purpose is not let's make money, because they already have the money from the
Yeah.
government. So the purpose is really make sure that what we're putting out in the world is exactly
Helpful.
correct and true, and we are gonna fact check it, and we're gonna so, or at least the people that I worked with, maybe not everyone at
Yeah.
BBC is like that, but for sure the people I worked with were very careful about fact checking, very careful that the information was completely accurate and historical and all of that. And
Yeah.
this is not the case with things that are funded by advertisers, and this is not the case with a lot of things, really, pretty much everything almost at this point.
Yeah, because you have to appeal to like the most people possible, and you're going to be pushed to talk about the most controversial things possible. So, or I don't know. Like having facts, like I said, facts don't matter anymore. No one really is like upset or up in arms if you get something completely wrong on purpose. No one's pissed anymore really about it. So it's like, okay, so why would I take the time and the effort to fact check something when I could just say,
Well, yes.
I think this, and then, you know,
Exactly,
all
but I
good.
also think that they can get a little bit arrogant with that, and then there's like a lawsuit, and then they're in fucking serious trouble, you know. And because
Yeah.
at the end of the day, like the law still reigns supreme, so
Sure.
it's kind of. I still think they can get in trouble with things like that. I just think that
Yeah.
so far they have not. But look at Brittany Dawn. When we talked about her like recently, Brittany Dawn is in a lawsuit because she did shady shit. Like
Yeah. That is a good
so-
sign, I think.
yeah, exactly. And I think this is obviously it's
God.
thanks me, I'm always not sure. It's my, right?
I think so. I always say my. Sorry, me, if it's my. If it's not my.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. I'll just say this.
I have like no facts.
That's Rachel. I have like no facts.
neither.
Yeah.
I just have opinions. But let's just let Rachel rot for a second.
Yes.
And we should talk about our final news of the week, which is the Olsen twins.
Woo! Olsen Twins.
Woo!
I was obsessed.
Because this is also fun.
Oh yeah. I was obsessed with them when I was a kid.
Really?
Oh yeah. I wanted to be. I had the Game Boy game of them. It was like Mary Kate and Ashley Olsen's Haunted Mansion or something. I played that all the time. I had the books. They wrote like, not them, but they had like books about, you know, their adventures. I read them. It Takes Two, the movie with Christy Alley, was one of my favorite movies. Oh wait, no, It Takes Two, or When the West Was Fun. I don't know. All their movies I loved. Like I got my hair cut like her, or one of them, you know, had like choppy layers. I wanted choppy layers. So yeah. So I was a big Mary Kate and Ashley Olsen stan.
I don't know if you're gonna still be a stan after this, Kayla.
I'm ready. I've heard
I'm so
they've
sorry.
changed. I've heard they've changed.
They have changed indeed. So they're in a lawsuit. Talking about lawsuits that we were just mentioning. Sometimes the bad things you do come back to haunt you, apparently, or sue you.
It's because they're in fashion. Fashion is like the worst industry possible.
I don't know. TV is pretty bad.
True. Yeah, what's worse, fashion or TV?
Or YouTube. I'm not even sure.
YouTube is fine. YouTube is
I
better
love
than
YouTube.
Yeah.
I love it. So they got sued because apparently they have fucking insanely underpaid people in their company.
Sounds about right.
Yeah.
Do you want to read it, or you want me to?
I can read it if you want. Do you want to make it slightly bigger because I can't see?
It'll only take 5 minutes for the computer to respond. I'm so sorry, everybody. I will make sure my laptop is charged by the time we start the show
This
next
takes
time.
me back to being 13 and waiting there for a YouTube video to download for
I know.
ages.
God, sorry, everybody.
Mary Kate and Ashley Olsen are being sued by a former intern, Shahista Lalani, who says that she was she was overworked with no pay while working for the twins licensing and manufacturing company, Dual Star Entertainment, in 2012. The class action lawsuit, which alleges wage theft, says the 29-year-old celebs failed to pay about 40 past and present interns who have worked for them, according to the New York Post. Lalani says she worked 50 hours a week with no pay and did not receive college credit for her time as an intern. What is this? I have to say, I am absolutely appalled. And as I worked in TV, I was in that situation where people were offering me weeks They were like, you can just week. It's work experience.
Yeah.
You don't know. You're just so inexperienced. You need to learn for free. And I
Yeah.
was so stupid that I was like, oh my god, what an opportunity! Thank you so much. I really
Hmm.
appreciate it. And like, I was such an idiot.
I got college credit, but that means that I'm paying to be here actually. So I would work at the news station for hours and I would be paying them to give me college credit for it. And yeah, it just really, it's unfair to people who can't afford to not work. That's who it
Yeah.
hurts, really. You know, if you have to choose between an internship and a job and you're not in the position to be able to take an unpaid internship, like you're going to fall behind. And, you know, I was lucky enough to be able to have enough loans that I could, you know, cover it, but it's really toxic. It's changing now, but when I was in school, they could treat you like dog shit and it was fine. They're like, "Oh, it's all about experience."
Yeah, yeah. And I think the internships in general, like I just don't understand the concept of unpaid internships. I
Yeah.
just feel like it's the absolute most abhorrent thing that has ever
Mm-hmm.
been created. It's just like, let's take this talented young person that we know can do the job, and
Mm-hmm.
let's just not pay them for it. Let's just use them for hours and hours and hours on end every single day,
Yeah, unpaid labor.
and we're just not gonna give them any money for it. They
Yeah.
can just fucking rot if we like it doesn't.
Yeah.
When I had like a budget and I worked with people, not a single person was unpaid. Not a single person. Like even a person that came on to just take photographs for like a couple of hours, even that person was paid.
Mm-hmm.
And I could have done this. I could have very easily been like, because my budget was a lot smaller than most companies that were getting like commissions and stuff. I could
Yeah.
have very easily been like, I have a very bad budget and stuff like that. But I just could not. I could not bring myself to do it.
Yeah. It's unfair. It's not okay. And I definitely hope it's in the past now. Like the 2012 is when they're talking about it happening. That's when I was doing these internships and yeah, going through that as well. So I think now there's a law. I don't know if it's national or if it's only in certain states, but you can't have an intern do the job of a paid employee. It has to be a separate program, you know, like it's either you pay the intern and they can do the work, or it's unpaid and they have to be in more of like a program that's meant to teach you something and you're not working, you're just going through a program at the company. I think
Yeah,
that's a change now. Yeah.
still needs to be paid even for that.
Yeah, I agree.
I hate this so much
Yeah.
because so many companies rely on this. Like they
Oh,
use
yeah.
like this is a labor force
Sure.
that they use. Young people who are talented, who are just out of school, who are like
Who are hungry.
they have like fresh information they literally just learned,
Mm-hmm.
and they're just exploiting them in so many ways. And I cannot
Oh no.
I can't believe like people like this and Mary Kate, and I'm sure that this is the case with most corporations, that they can actually afford it but they just want profit.
Yeah.
But it sucks when you see someone like them who have so much money
Yeah.
to that they're not paying an intern what, the minimum wage. They can't pay them like $10 an hour or whatever that
I
is.
know. Like, what is that? What is that? I don't get it. Why are people, the richest people, cheapest people sometimes? I don't understand.
Just money hungry, I swear to God.
So, Brenna, we feel for you.
We're sorry.
Quit. I don't know.
I'm so
Just kidding.
sorry. Please quit. Please get a
Just
paid
kidding.
job.
But it's tough. If like that's
Just-
how do you have to, how it works? Like,
You paid them? Oh my God.
seems like a bad idea. But if you're already in it, man, I don't know. Get as much as you can out of it.
Look, just get what you can and then move to a very well paid job.
Yeah, for real. Seriously. I mean, there was internships in New York City and like LA, you know, for national, like CNN or even Atlanta too, or, you know, ABC News and stuff that I would love to have done, but you have to pay for yourself to live in New York for the whole summer. I'm like, I can't fucking do that. Like, I'm barely affording my dorm room in, you know, in the town I'm in. Like, that's where it starts to go. You have opportunities because your parents are helping you, or you have, support somehow. And that's what separates the lower income student from someone who has extra income on the side from taking better opportunities. It sucks.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate.
And the stress that comes with not being able to afford life
Yeah.
is insane. Puts such a big jeez, I been through some stuff because of that. It's just like very stressful, and you can't necessarily focus on the things that you have to do because you're constantly like, oh my god, how am I going to survive this month? Or like,
Yeah.
just stuff like that is absolutely awful. And yeah.
Yeah. But a self-help person would say, that's what you have to do. You got to put the hustle in to
Yeah,
do it
Gary
for
Vee would be
free.
like, you know what? You know who I want? I don't want to be a trust fund baby. I want to be poor again.
That's the best thing to be, is
Fucking
poor.
asshole. Oh my god. Oh god. And they have people convinced that this is true, and like, I just
Yeah, I agree. It's stupid.
The
Anyways.
intern never worked directly for Mary Kate or Ashley Olsen, but says they were nice to her. In the suit, Lilani says she reported to the head technical designer for the Olsen's high fashion label, The Row, for 5 months. 5 months! Almost half a year. And not get paid?
Yeah, that's crazy.
The former intern has called her boss very demanding. This is the thing. This is what gets me angry too. Because they're not even like
Nice to you.
easy jobs. They're
Yeah.
not even like just sit there and look. They're not even just like observe.
No.
No, they make you work. And in TV, they would make people work for like 16 hours a day.
Yeah. I believe it. It's fucked up.
Oh, God.
It's because we accept it, I guess. It's like, this is how it is. Our parents, I shouldn't say my parents said that's how it is. They never said don't do it. They're like, that's how life works. So you go, okay, that's what the teachers told me in high school. Oh, you have to do this. This is how it works. Okay. The college professor said this is how it works. Okay. So I accepted it because I thought there was no other way. I wanted to be successful, so I'll just up. But it's like, it doesn't have to be this way. It could change if we all collectively said no more. Something would have to change.
Yeah. And the thing is, I feel like, at least when it comes to my experience, I always asked for pay. Well, not on that 1 week thing, but my dad was always like, "So what are they offering you? Did you tell them how much your bills are?"
That's good.
I'd be like,
That's good advice.
well, it was like, it is good advice, but at the same time, like, they weren't offering me, so I was just there being like embarrassed, being like, "No, I'm not getting anything," like, But oh gosh, I had a point. Sorry, I lost my point. Oh, damn it.
I'm
Never
still
mind.
trying to figure out why I brought up affirmative action 2 weeks ago. I have no idea. I don't understand where my brain was going. It's okay.
Yeah.
You're forgiven.
No, I don't know. I'm so sorry.
Okay. What part were we at? The quote part here. I was doing the work of 3 interns part is where we stopped.
I was doing the work of 3 interns, Lalani said. I was talking to her all day, all night. Emails at nighttime for the next day, like 10 p.m. at night. It was like 100 degrees outside. I'd just be sweating to death. I probably carried like 50 pounds worth of trench coats. According to court paper obtained by the Post, Lalani says her other work included inputting data into spreadsheets, making text sheets, running personal errands for paid employees, organizing materials, photocopying, sewing, pattern cutting, amongst other related duties. There's so much work.
Yeah.
When we weren't doing something, they'd be like, organize the buttons in the back by color code,
God.
says Lalani, who says that at one point she was hospitalized for dehydration.
Jesus.
Oh my God. I'm so glad she's suing them.
Yeah. Good.
You're cleaning, you don't get a 15-minute break. Oh my God. If you have time to lean, you have time to clean? Oh my God, really? Like, is this how cliche they were?
Yes.
You just go with their crazy flow. You just got caught up in the pressure. You're like an employee, except you're not getting paid yet. They're kind of mean to you. Other interns have cried. I see a lot of kids crying during coffee runs for the copying stuff. Leonidas, however, said she never directly worked for the Olsens, but found them nothing but pleasant towards her when she saw them occasionally at meetings. Yeah, because they're not working with her
I was gonna
on
say,
a
yeah,
daily
well,
basis.
they should be
Like,
pleasant. What do they have
yeah.
to do? They get the money and the profits from you working there for free.
Yeah, they don't need to be unpleasant. They have employees who are unpleasant to you for them.
Yeah, you can still commit, not a crime necessarily, but you could still be a horrible owner of a company and be pleasant.
You can still have people that you don't pay and just have their managers be mean. You don't have to
Yeah.
be mean.
Makes you look great.
Yeah. They're really nice people, Lani says. They were never mean to anyone. They're business people. Yeah, exactly. They were never mean to anyone except to you and all the other interns indirectly.
Yeah, the culture starts with the owners, whether people believe that or not. I think so. Like, if you're so far out of, like, if they're at meetings and stuff, they should know what company culture they're cultivating, and it is their responsibility to keep it in check. So I do feel like they are responsible.
Of course, but the pressure comes from up above.
Yeah.
It doesn't come from the direct. It does come from the direct manager in terms of the manager will be telling them what they need to do, but that manager has pressure put on them by the one above, and the one above by the one above, and so on, and it does get to them. That's where it's coming from, because they would be, what would happen, they would do things like, oh, we need to come up with a collection in like 6 weeks.
Yeah.
And
Do
then
it.
they're like, well, that's not enough time. Well, that's all we have. Or like, and that's
That's the
that's
reality.
it. And it just like makes an entire company of people having to work overtime and having to work super hard because 6 weeks is not enough time. That's you know what I mean? That's kind
Yeah.
of how it starts. And it starts with them accepting things like that, or even starting things like that.
You know what this reminds me of? And I talked about it on my channel last week or 2 weeks ago. Are you familiar with Bethany Frankel?
No, I don't think.
She was one of the Real Housewives from that franchise, but she owns Skinny Girl, the brand that's like cocktails that are diet cocktails and diet popcorn and whatever. She had a reality show in 2021 where she was hiring her VP of operations, and it's sort of like apprentice style where they have to do all these challenges, and by the end one of the people are hired. Bethany herself was so fucking mean to all of the contestants, like to the point of they were crying, they were having like meltdowns because she was just telling them that they were like the worst people possible. But then later she'd come and apologize, or she would say like, it's not that big of a deal. But like, the one girl was one woman on the show was crying, and she's like, why are you crying? Like, and think about it, you're on national TV, like everyone knows you're on the show, and then Bethany is just like ripping you a new one. She's like, this is how it is in my company. It's like, you're the one making it that way. It's like, you don't have to be a super bitch to people. You're choosing that's not the only way to success, I don't think. And if it is, then I don't want to be successful, because that's a horrible way to treat people that are trying to be, helpful to you.
Yeah, definitely. I just feel like most people who make some money and just get into business just become these power hungry, animals, and then they start to show the worst things.
Yeah, I was very turned off. I mean, I didn't like her really to begin with, and then I saw that show and I watched the whole thing. I was like, oh my god, like, you just look not a good boss. Like, you just have to be like that.
For some reason, people really get off on that, because that's the case with like Dave Ramsey, right? Like the whole thing was like, you're gonna come on his show and he's gonna scream at you that you're stupid and that you're an idiot, and like people get off on it for some reason. I don't understand it at all.
Power. Yeah, it's a power trip for sure. And I think and this might be me being sexist against women, so I'm sorry in advance. But when you feel like maybe you have more to prove, like you're a real boss babe, because, you know, you're not the typical CEO because you are female, you're a woman. So you become even more like mean and vicious and like cutthroat because you're trying to prove like you can hang out with like the other CEOs. I wonder if that happens because I don't know if every CEO, you know, Dave Ramsey, obviously a man, but like if every CEO is so mean, but the ones that are women tend to, at least the ones that get shows, tend to be very harsh. And I wonder if that's sort of like a psychological
I think that's why
thing.
they get selected for those shows.
That's
'Cause
true.
they have, because when I was working in TV and we were having to pitch like not necessarily documentaries, but like entertainment stuff, and when I would write pitches like that, you had to come up with like different talent is what I would call them, and oftentimes you look for something different that they have, because you need to please your boss. You need to go to your boss and give them something to like, and you know, you have to, the
Yeah.
stronger the character, the personality, the more likely is that they want them on TV.
Yeah, true.
So they get selected, and I think obviously it does skew the perception, because that's not what I'm sure there's like millions of companies out there that have like perfectly decent people at the top who don't exploit their employees and stuff like that, you know.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
But like
Hopefully
we watched like
what I'm saying is true.
We watched like Elizabeth Holmes, you know, and like how she was, and I don't think she was like, well, I think she was cutthroat, but like, you know, she was the female billionaire, so that persona, she had to live up to it, and putting all that pressure on herself to be this like savant, the first ever female, you know, startup leader, I think it might get to their head in like a negative way, like, oh, they have to, you know, they have to be the one to make the whole female, you know, gender better or something. I don't know, maybe it's just too much pressure, they go nuts. I have no idea. That's just
Yeah, it's certainly, it for sure goes to people's heads. Can you imagine being given that much money and just, uh, I can't even fathom. Like,
yeah.
of course, you start to think. Now, Elizabeth, had she come out to say that she's a genius and all that stuff, I would give her more credit for it than Kanye. I'm like, Kanye, where did you get this? Because you're a
Yeah.
dumbass. Like,
Yeah.
exactly who told you that you're a genius and you believed it? Because damn it, they were mocking you.
Yeah. Someone believed it, but I ain't. I am
Yeah.
not. Anyways,
Yeah. So, did we finish this article?
no.
A spokesperson for the Olsen company told the Post that Dualstar was not aware of the lawsuit but declined to comment. Huh?
Not aware.
What? Oh, we don't know if there's a lawsuit. Maybe. Sure. I mean, which one are you talking about?
Yeah, which lawsuit?
We have a lot.
We have many ongoing litigations. That's
They founded this when they were 6 years old. What
Dual
the
Star. Yeah, that makes sense. That
Are you
sounds
even
about right.
allowed to have a company at the age of 6?
Apparently,
Like, you're not allowed to have a driver's license until 16.
they took over on their 18th birthday as co-presidents.
They're like, you're not allowed to drive, but should you want to have a lot of employees and be responsible for them, that we will allow.
when they were 6 years old, they're like, no, interns don't need money. And that's
We'll
stuck.
just give them candy. In 2004, on their 18th birthday, the sisters took over as co-presidents. They are now co-chief executive officers and of the privately held firm, which has produced movies, TV shows, magazines, and video games, according to Women's Wear. Women's Wear. Okay, thank you, Women's Wear, for your input.
Thanks, Women's Wear.
Later, the twins' business efforts also included clothes, shoes, purses, hats, books, CDs, and cassette tapes, fragrances and makeup, magazines, video and board games, dolls, posters, calendars, telephones, and CD players.
I had it
Wow.
all. I had them all. Not really. I had
Jesus.
some of it.
Okay, we were always hard workers as kids, Mary Kate told WWD in 2013. It's just the way we are, the way we were raised. Our work ethic was everything and that never left us. We like to work hard and we like to try to do everything 100%. In fact, it's almost impossible for us not to. Sometimes you succeed and sometimes not so much, but it's learning. Huh? What does this have to do with the lawsuit?
Okay. Now it's just like
Thanks.
a
Thanks,
yeah.
Mary Kate. That was irrelevant. So
Now we're in the part of the article they're just talking about like their accomplishments. Like, okay,